Hey everybody, it's been a while. It is your favorite librarian, Mrs. M. Back on his first chapter Friday. Today I have The Last Hope in Hopetown, main student book award book written by Maria Tureaud. Cool name. You ever wondered what it would be like if vampires and humans lived together in harmony? Let's find out. We'll get you the blurb. We'll get you the first chapter. Let's get into it. This is The Last Hope in Hopetown, written by Maria Tureaud. 12-year-old human, Sophie Dawes, has a good life in Hopetown. There, vampires and humans exist in harmony, and Sophie and her adoptive vampire moms are living, or unliving, proof. Vampires must follow a lot of rules for humans to feel safe, but Sophie knows that a nightly curfew and regular visits from Child Protective Services are a small price to pay to keep her family together. But then normal law-abiding vampires start turning feral and bloodthirsty with no explanation. After Mama, the sweetest person Sophie knows, goes rogue. Sophie decides to find a cure. But taking matters into her own hands might be way more than she bargained for if it means braving a secret council of vampires, executing epic heists, and facing the true villains head-on. With her best friend by her side, Sophie will fight for hope, freedom, and a love that's thicker than blood. And it says it's giving, like Stranger Things ex-vampires, so I know some of you into Stranger Things. Chapter 1. I have two moms. They adopted me like 5 years ago when I was 7. But that wasn't why Laura from Child Protective Services sat in my living room when I should have been headed to Chuck's chocolate house with my best friend, Delphine. No. She was there because my parents are vampires. How about school, Sophie? Laura asked. Littlefinger pointed to the ceiling as she delicately sipped tea from Mama's treasured porcelain tea set. I liked her. She'd been my caseworker for 3 years and treated my parents like humans. She even drank tea correctly, which made Mama very happy. Though I'm pretty sure Laura just learned how just so Mama would like her. School's good, I replied brightly. Maybe a little too brightly. The sooner Laura decided everything was fine, the sooner I'd be free. It was Saturday, for crying out loud. Solid B's. Ready for 7th grade? Laura asked, smiling as I tapped my foot. I did that a lot. Mama said I was always fidgeting, ready to flee the palace, but my other mom, the Duke, called it battle ready. Yep, I nodded. Delphine was probably wondering where I was, but she didn't own a cell phone. This was exactly why she needed one, because CPS didn't exactly let anyone know when they were showing up. All right. Chuckling, Laura put down the teacup and grabbed her iPad. Mom got a new doll, huh? My nose wrinkled as I turned to peek at the creepy thing propped up on the ed table. Mama loved antique dolls, especially French ones, preferably dressed in her favorite color, pink, like the living room walls and the fancy, old-timey French-style furniture. Yeah, she said it reminded her of someone she used to know. I couldn't remember who, but I was sure Mama had said. She loved to name drop, even though I always had to open a search browser on the internet to figure out who the heck our friends were. I even found Mama on there. Well, sort of. She'd had lots of names, because vampires used to change them every 10 to 15 years and move away, so humans wouldn't wonder why they weren't getting old. One of those names was Marie Therese Louise de Savoy Carignan, the Princesse de Lamballe, a friend of Queen Marie Antoinette. It was a mouthful. That's why my mom chose Dawes as our family name. It was the name Mama was born with, and she wanted me to be a part of her family heritage. I'm sure. That's the amazing thing about vampires, isn't it? All that history, Laura said, swiping her fingers over the screen of the iPad. All right, Sophie, real quick and I'll be out of your hair. I sat up straight and forced my foot to stop tapping. 5 minutes. That's all the questionnaire ever took. Then I could meet Delphine and tell her all about the letter in my back pocket. Has everything been normal at home? Laura asked. Yes. 20 seconds gone. 4 minutes, 40 seconds to go. Any change in circumstance? That meant jobs and things. Oh, all good. Have your parents been keeping the curfew? Yes. Though the Duke did take me for late-night ice cream twice a week, she never stepped foot out of the car. No one ever saw. It was our secret. Any changes in behavior? Mama chose that moment to sashay into the living room with a bright, "Voila, I made cookies!" Instead, I groaned. That 5 minutes could turn into 20 if Mama got talking. Laura made that whole, ew, gross, but I don't want to be rude face. Mama's cookies were the worst. She loved to bake, but since she didn't eat human food, she didn't know that everything she cooked tasted like chalk. Mainly because I never told her. Thanks, Mama, I said, reaching out to grab one of the lumpy burnt cookies as she offered the tray. I'd tried to show her how to bake them right, but her eyes got all bloody. Vampires cried blood. And then I felt bad because she got upset if I didn't like something, and I just wanted her to always be happy. She was the best, always trying so hard to fit in with our human neighbors, even though I loved Mama just the way she was, because she was my mom. Oh, I couldn't possibly. Laura tried to tactfully decline, but Mama cut her off with an insistent chuckle. Come, Miss Snyder, they're gluten-free, nut-free, and chocolate chip. Mama grinned, and her pink lipstick shone bright against super pale skin. She wore a ruffle-necked blouse and a swirly pink shirt that sat really high on her waist. It came to mid-calf, but poofed out thanks to a fluffy underskirt. She looked like one of those housewives from the old movies she loved to watch, the black and white ones from the 50s. She even wore a set of pearls. Laura smiled a little and politely took a cookie. She knew the drill. Mama stood waiting, smiling, her smile dimming with each passing second as Laura sat there not eating. They're really good, Mama, I said, trying to distract everyone. But Mama still stood there, watching Laura, until Laura finally took a tentative bite. Laura murmured around the crumbly burnt cookie. Very good. Liar. But that was all right because Mama's smile grew really wide. Wonderful, I'll be back with some lemonade. Oh, we're almost done here, Laura said, her eyes going a bit panicky as the blood drained from her face. Then you'll take some lemonade to go. With a happy twirl, Mama sashayed for the door, humming an out-of-key tune all the way to the kitchen. Okay. With a sigh, Laura turned her attention back to the iPad as I shoved the rest of the cookie into my pocket. I'd trash it later. It really was pretty bad. No change in behavior then, let me just tick that off. How about mood swings? Nothing out of the ordinary, I replied. Mama was Mama, filled with so much love and empathy and worry. But the Duke was solid as a rock. They were a really great team. Good. All right, Sophie, I think I have everything I need. I wanted to know how much longer this would go on for. Not just this visit, but in general. These checkups really only started when the vampires began going rogue like 3 years ago, which seemed silly at the time because most of those cases were on the West Coast, but that was then. Now there were news stories almost every day about rogue vampires in the Northeast. My mom's told me having a CPS agent was for my safety, to make sure everything was all right and that they weren't affected by whatever was making others turn on their human families and friends. But I knew it upset them. Dinners were always weird after Laura stopped by, the Duke got quieter, and Mama filled the silence with chatter. That's why I always insisted on playing a family board game and letting them read me a bedtime story on those nights, because being together as a family always made them happier, even if I was way too old to get tucked in. Can I go? I asked, already half off my chair. Sure thing. What adventures am I keeping you from today? Packing her things into a sleek black messenger bag, Laura stood, glancing from the cookie in her hand to the ornate glass coffee table and back to the cookie again. Just hanging out with a friend. Here, I said, taking the cookie from her hand. I shoved it in my growing, gross cookie stash pocket, and she relaxed with a smile. Thank you. You got it. Mama called something from the kitchen, and Laura tensed again. Don't worry, I said, winking. The lemonade's fine. The Duke bought it. Oh, Laura blushed a little and rose from her chair, slinging her bag over her shoulder. Then lead the way. Leading the way meant sticking around for longer, and that made my foot tap. But I stood and walked into the kitchen ahead of Laura. I guess I could wait 5 more minutes, but I'd really have to excuse myself as soon as possible. Me and Delphine had very important things to do today, like stop at the blood bank to pick up my mom's weekly order, and decide what to do about the letter in my back pocket, the one from my birth mom. So there's Sophie and Delphine on the cover. Mom's gonna go rogue. And you're gonna come down to the library and check it out to see what happens. Thanks, everyone. Bye.